Get him, Mal. You see what's out there? Look.
Hey there, explorers. Welcome back to another video. And in this video, Matt is not with me. If you can believe it or not, he left and went on a cruise with some friends and family and left me behind. So I figured that I would take this opportunity to chat with you guys a little bit about some exploring you can do right in your own backyard and how you can attract some nature in the form of backyard birds and be able to enjoy them like we do here at our house. So real quick, let's jump in and kind of talk about some of the different species of birds that we are able to get to our backyard, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of feeders and seed that you can put out, or fruits that you can put out to attract different birds, and what those feeders look like, so that way you guys have an idea of what you want to put in your backyard. So here on our tube feeder, you see a very common, this is probably the most common backyard bird that you will attract very easily. This is a mourning dove. We get quite a few of these guys in the backyard, and they come to the feeders. They actually usually hang out on the ground around the feeders because the other birds will come in and kind of kick seed out, and they just walk around the ground and pick up that seed and eat it. These guys like to have a little bit longer cut grass in your yard, just as an FYI, so they want to be able to lay down in that grass. They use it as cover as well, so just something for you to keep in mind with your backyard birds. So some of the other species that we will attract to our backyard, like this guy here, this is actually a female cardinal that lives here in our yard. We have a male cardinal as well that comes around. He's a little bit more skittish, but she comes to the feeder quite often and feeds as well. We also attract tufted titmice. That is a really cool little bird, very similar to the cardinal in the fact that it has like the little hood that stands up on the top of its head, but a cute little bird. We have a pair of those that come to our feeders as well. And we get all different types of finches to our backyard, so goldfinches, house finches, and the like. So those are pretty common to attract as well. We also have a family of mockingbirds that hangs out around our backyard, and they're quite a treat. They've actually bred in our backyard before and have a nest in one of our bushes. So those are pretty cool. Here in Florida, you'll get some species of small parrot. They have like a black head. Those are called Nanday conures, and they unfortunately became popular in the pet trade, have gotten loose, and now those guys are breeding like crazy. So you'll hear them screaming here on the video, and I'll have a picture of those guys as they come into the feeder as well. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of feeders that are available that you can put in your backyard, and kind of the different seed that you'll use for those. So the first one is a tray or platform feeder, and you can see that here. This actually is leaves it real open so birds can just land in and kind of mill around within the seed that you pour into that. And it will actually attract a variety of different birds, pigeons and starlings and house sparrows, but also a lot of grosbeaks will come into those as well. And these can be used north, south, all over the U.S. and attract a variety of different birds that come in. But a lot of the ground feeding birds like juncos and doves and jays, blackbirds, they really like those platform feeders. So that's one of the feeders you can use if you want any of those types of birds. You can use a hopper, or what they call a house feeder, which is, I have a picture of one here for you, and this kind of is a gravity-fed feeder, so the seed kind of falls down to the bottom, but it protects the seed against the weather and bird droppings and things like that. But you have to make sure that the seed doesn't get wet in there, because it can grow bacteria, it'll get sticky and mushy in there, and that can make the birds sick, but then also it makes it more difficult for them to actually get to the seed. So just keep that in mind. But the house feeders will usually pull in all kinds of different finches, jays, cardinals really like those as well. And you can get sparrows, chickadees, those titmice that I was talking about. They will usually come in for those house feeders. Another type of feeder that's pictured here is a window feeder. These are a lot of fun. They suction cup to the outside of your window. You can put a variety of different types of seed in there, and the birds will actually come feed right from that window feeder. So if you, and especially if you have cats, the cats love it because you're attracting the birds right up against the window, and you usually can get your cats to cackle and kind of howl at the birds when they come up. And the birds, a lot of times the windows will seem mirrored to the birds, and they can't actually see clearly into it. They see their own reflection, so they actually don't even see the cats on the inside. Our female cardinal that comes to the feeder, she actually will fly up against the window because she sees her own reflection, and that kind of attracts her to, because they're very territorial, so that attracts her over to the window. But she doesn't even see us on the inside. The cats will sit there and kind of watch her as she goes out the window. This feeder here is that you're looking at is a tube feeder, and this is probably one of the most common that you do find. Very simple, easy to fill, easy to keep clean, and just about all different types of birds actually really like these. They have the small perches on there so the birds can sit and rest, and you can get some very large ones that have multiple perches. So you can end up with a whole lot of birds that are all over. And this will actually entice birds that like to hang upside down on those perches, like your grosbeaks and your goldfinches and chickadees, things like that. So this is a good feeder to have in your backyard. Another one is a Niger feeder, and Niger is a very small thistle seed, and a lot of times these are like basically screened feeders, and the birds pull the seed from the screen. There are some with small holes where they'll pull the thistle seed through there, and these actually are usually will usually attract in like your finches and very small beaked birds. Really like those. And one of the last feeders I was going to show you guys here is a suet feeder. These are very popular for woodpeckers and nuthatches, chickadees, titmice, jays, starlings. The suet, there's different types you can use throughout the year. Some with really high protein for the winter time for birds if you're up north. And these also will attract in your squirrels and other things like that too. So I highly recommend getting like a squirrel baffle to put above them, so whenever the squirrels try to jump onto it, they just slide right off. Otherwise, they will wreak havoc on your suet feeders. And then, of course, there's hummingbird feeders as well. I think everybody's familiar with those, which hold the nectar in there for the hummingbirds to come around and feed off of those. So those are a few different types of feeders that you can have in your backyard, and the different types of birds that they will actually attract in. And in the comments below on this video, I do have some Amazon links there for you guys to go in and check out some of the more common of each of these types of feeders. And I would love it if you guys would purchase some new feeders using those links down below. That helps us out with the channel as well through Amazon. I have a link down below also for a great book from National Geographic on backyard birding that I recommend. It's available on Amazon. You can use that link down below as well to purchase that book if you want to learn more about attracting backyard birds. A couple things to keep in mind actually when you're thinking about attracting birds. The number one element is the food. You've got to have a good food source and a nice variety of food, and you will attract all different types of wild birds to your backyard. And the different feeders will hold different types of food, so that's why I wanted to show you the different feeders that were available. The next thing to think about is the shelter and a place for them to raise their young if you want to keep the birds around so they don't leave and go to somebody else's backyard. And that could be with shrubs and trees and things like that, but you can also put up bird boxes, bird houses, nesting boxes, and provide nesting material for the birds to be able to use as well. And then they definitely have to have water somewhere nearby. So if you have a lake or a pond or a water source nearby, that's great. But bird baths are awesome because then you not only get to make sure the birds have water, but then also provide them a place to take a bath and stay clean. So definitely think about that whenever you're setting up your backyard and what you want to provide for the birds that are going to be coming into your backyard. Make sure that you have water available for them as well to get to. The last element here to really think about is, like I said, that habitat. So ensuring that you have good grass or ground cover. So I would say about 2 inch tall grass is going to be good. So it still looks well manicured, but yet you actually have some ground cover for the birds to be able to get down and hide in. Some decent sized shrubs, 2 to 5 foot shrubs would be awesome. That would actually provide them a lot of cover, and typically they'll nest in those as well. Having small trees, 5 to 15 foot, gives them something to get up away from predators and get off the ground, which is really good as well. And then tall trees. They love to nest in tall trees and provides them a lot more cover. So big 15 to 40 foot tall trees would be really great. So I think if you take into account those 4 different elements, you'll really be able to attract a great variety of wild birds to the backyard. So when it comes to the actual food source itself, I did also leave you some Amazon links down below in the description section. And one of our favorite foods to feed our birds, and what we found was that we tried a lot of different wild birds mixes, and we weren't actually getting the birds to come in, and it was really interesting. And we switched brands, and we found a brand that's made by Pennington. It's called Ultra Songbird Blend. And this food is awesome. We actually tried to switch away from it because it's a little bit pricier, and the birds left. We didn't have birds for a while, so we ended up buying this food again on Amazon, which is where really the only place we can find it. We've looked all over the place at pet stores and wild bird stores and hardware stores, and we can't find this food. So we buy it on Amazon now, and now that we've switched back to this food, we have a massive amount of birds that come to our backyard to feed. And it provides a lot of entertainment and just really relaxing to sit there and watch the birds. So that Pennington Ultra Songbird Blend is one of the best. Also, we use a Niger bird seed in our Niger feeder and for the smaller finches that really like that food. And I've got a link down below to that specific brand that we use. There again, it attracts quite a few birds into it, so I'd recommend that food for you as well. So let's look at some of the birds that do come to our backyard. I'll call out some species here as we kind of see those. So once again, here's an image of our video for the female cardinal that comes to our backyard. I didn't happen to capture the male cardinal on video this time around. He's a little bit more secretive, and when I put the camera out, he decided to go up in the tree and not come back down with the camera out on the feeder, but the female comes around. Here's an image, our video of our pair of tufted titmice. These guys are cute. They come around quite often. Here's some more of the mourning doves. And then, here's a starling. So we just started seeing the starling come to our feeder here recently. Now here on these 2 feeders, you'll see on the right feeder there's a finch, and another finch flies in, and I'm not really great at identifying my finches. The guy that just landed up on top of the shepherd's hook there, that is a northern mockingbird. We have a little family that lives here in the backyard, like I said earlier. But all these other little guys flying around are a species of finch. Feel free to comment below on what species this is. I know these look like the females. A male flies around here in our backyard, and he's got quite a bit of red on him. There he is. He just came into that the feeder on the left-hand side there. I'm not 100% sure if these guys are the common rose finch. That's the closest bird that I can find here in the field guide for that particular finch. Oh, and here's a little bit better shot here of the male finch. You can see him there sitting on the crossbar above the feeder on the right. See the red on him? He's the male of all of those finches there. So this is a nice little group that we have that comes to our backyard quite often. here's our buddy northern mockingbird again. Like I said, there's like 3 or 4 of them that live really close to our yard here, so we get to see these guys all day. Beautiful, beautiful voices on them, mocking all kinds of different noises around the neighborhood. These guys will chase off a lot of the other birds whenever they went around the feeder. They'll chase them off. They're pretty territorial. So we have some rain that started. It's been raining quite a bit actually these last couple weeks, but you can see here that it doesn't really bother the birds too much. They're still going to come to the feeders and get some food even whenever there's heavy downpours coming down. So so it's nice, you know, nice rainy day. You can just take a look in the backyard and watch the birds, and they'll eat and fly around. Oh, back over here on these feeders, here's our buddies, the Nande conures or black-capped conures. They have a couple different names that people call them by, but these guys will fly in a couple times throughout the day, refuel on some of the seeds in our feeder, and then take off. They always have one guy up on the very top of the tree there that watches out for them, and if there's any danger, he calls out, and they will all take off, and they rotate through. Each of them get a turn getting some food. Alright, well, I hope you guys didn't miss Matt too much, and you guys enjoyed watching some of the backyard birds here in my backyard and learning a little bit about the feeders and habitat for these backyard birds and how to attract as many as you can. We have a lot of activity in our backyard, and it is really just great just to be able to relax and watch the birds back there. The cats love it, we love it. You know, leave any comments down below if you want to ask any questions about backyard birds, or if you have any feedback on backyard birds. We'd love to interact with you. Otherwise, please give us a thumbs up if you liked this video, and click that subscribe button if you want to get more videos. And Matt will be back soon from his cruise, and we will be back on some exploring of nature together soon. Thanks, guys, and hope you enjoyed the video.